if you know you have an Amazon business and you're crushing it on Amazon and it's very, very profitable, you probably don't want to take your focus off of that per se. When are you ready to break away from that and build? I think when you have an exit in sight, perhaps, when you have your infrastructure set up in a way where taking your attention away from Amazon isn't going to kill your Amazon business. I think that's a different. I think that would be the distinguishing factor. And for us,
Welcome to the Ecomm Breakthrough Shortcuts. In these 5-minute episodes, we cut straight to the real stories, real numbers, and the real lessons learned from brand builders and entrepreneurs just like yourself. No fluff, just high impact takeaways that you can apply into your business today. Yoon, this is going to be my question for you. And this comes from my own experience of us, kind of like taking our eye off the ball. My question is going to be this, Yoon, and then I'll share my story. But the question is, at what point should an Amazon e-commerce brand begin focusing on diversifying their revenue? And I share that because that was one of the biggest mistakes I know that we made as a brand. We had success, like our first year on Amazon, we did $1 million in revenue, and I was like, this is great, right? But guess what? When I attended all those same e-commerce conferences you were going to, Yoon, guess what everybody said? Oh, you don't want to be like, don't put all your eggs in the Amazon basket. You're going to wake up tomorrow and they're just going to suspend your account. Like, you have no control over your business. And again, we were similar to yourself, Yoon. We've never done anything black hat or gray hat. Like, it's all white hat. So it's like I can go to bed peacefully and I'm not worried. Like, first thing in the morning, I'm not checking my Amazon account, worried whether or not I'm suspended. Like, if that happens, like, that's a mistake that should be able to be worked through because we're not doing anything wrong. But I didn't follow that advice that I now know in hindsight. And so what did I do? We started focusing on D2C, heavy investment into D2C, creating blogs, creating digital products that we could sell on this D2C site because it was going to be easier, less cash flow issues, blah, blah, blah. We end up investing over $300,000, $400,000 into a channel that ultimately made us maybe at best $10,000. So what a massive investment into a whole lot of nothing. Whereas if we would have taken those same 2 years that we spent trying to build up this other D2C stuff and actually just doubled down more and more and more on Amazon, we probably would have been 3 or 4 times bigger if we just would have put the pedal to the metal on Amazon and kept the blinders on, but just kept going on Amazon. So that's my experience. And it sounds like you also did the same thing, which is like, no, we put our blinders on, and that's why we now dominate Amazon. So what would be your recommendations and advice, Yoon, to other 7, 8-figure sellers that are hearing all sorts of strategies, even whether it be on this podcast, is like, oh, this guy's crushing it in D2C. I need to be over there. Oh, this guy's got a massive subscription funnel that he's doing. Like, I need to be doing that. How do you help reconcile all those ideas and strategies so that you know you're focused on the right one?
yeah, I think number one, you have to know what you have and what your ultimate vision of what you're trying to create is. And I think if you're sure on that vision, you'll hopefully stay true to that and not let all these flashing lights distract you, get you off your path. If you know you have an Amazon business and you're crushing it on Amazon and it's very, very profitable, you probably don't want to take your focus off of that per se. When are you ready to break away from that and build? I think when you have an exit in sight, perhaps, when you have your infrastructure set up in a way where taking your attention away from Amazon isn't going to kill your Amazon business. I think that's a different. I think that would be the distinguishing factor. And for us, like I said, we were stabilizing quite a bit on Amazon, and our growth was predictable. And it's something that and that's something that I think they measure on valuation all the time. Do you have predictable, healthy growth year over year? And if you could establish and do that without you, with you being able to pursue new projects, you'd be silly not to do it, right? I think what caught our, so 2020 or 2021, we had broken 9 figures, and we were thinking we're, hot stuff. And we're walking around, hey, look, we're the big dogs here. And then we'd say, hey, where do you sell? And we'd say Amazon there, and they're like, you know, Okay, whatever. And we would just kind of be put in the back of the room. And it felt like nobody kind of respected us because we sold on Amazon during those years. Um, but we didn't let that, I think we were making good money, so why would we let that affect us and who we were, how, what we were? We had to be aware of who you are and be confident in that's what you do and that's what you do well. Um, I think in terms of during those days, though, when we were trying to reach out to do some brick and mortar, they weren't giving us the time of the day. They care less how much we were doing on Amazon. They care less how much we were doing as a company. So we struggled during those days to try to break through. And at a certain point, I guess the point was when we broke 300 million. Really, that's when they started giving us a serious look and said, "Look." And I think it had to be more with the shifting of the industry because brick and mortar is kind of, I feel like, more old ways of doing things. The people in it are a little bit older. They're used to doing things a certain way of tradition and history and the way they've done things, and to turn their minds on the fact that there's a world outside of brick and mortar was really, really hard. But I think they just came around with the times and recognized, hey, revenue is revenue. And a lot of times our biggest problem was because we sold on Amazon in the manner that we sold, it was hard to get our name out there and saying, hey, NutriCross Vitamin C or NutriCross Creatine is really, really big. And we had to have a couple of hero products that did really, really well that we could lead with to get our foot through the door. Once we got our foot through the door, they realized, wow, these guys move huge, huge, huge volumes, and we're dumb for not taking them. That's when doors started opening up to us and allowing us to pursue some of those routes. Um, you know, one of the reasons we're in 14 buildings is because we had to keep expanding manufacturing because we kept growing, and a lot of times was forced growth. We were expanding out at a fast rate so that we can have the capacity to do brick and mortar, to do more D2C, to do TikTok shop. All those things kind of came about because we put that into our DNA of who we are. Growth is part of the things that we really value in our culture of the company. So to do that, we had to grow as a manufacturing. To do that, we had to increase our capacity in terms of 3PL, and we kept doing that along the way so that we would be able to meet demands that were coming in the future years. So with that said, the decision to kind of break out and do more than just Amazon, it didn't really come organically, but we've always wanted it to happen. We're just waiting for the right time to happen. And when it did, we just kind of fully embraced it and kept doubling down on it.
Mm.
So, like I said, we started Brick and Mortar 2 years ago. We did $30 million last year. We're aiming to do $70 million this year. And we're excited where it can go with some of these big partnerships that we have coming up, and some of these partnerships, valuable partnerships that we've had. Um, and it's been nice because I've heard a lot of horror stories about doing brick and mortar, and we were afraid what it could have been, but it's been going really, really well for us so far.